Hello, 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 everyone. I am Robin Bafme, and welcome to the podcast. It's all about solar. Normally, I am here on Thursdays at 6 p.m., but today I am coming to you a little bit earlier. Decided maybe we need to figure out and get involved with people during the middle of the day. Come out here to see what y'all up to. All righty. So maybe some of you have listened to the podcast, and some of you are familiar with solar energy and what we're going to talk about, but maybe you have not seen me at all. Maybe you have not heard of me at all. Again, now you're hearing it. My name is Robin Fahmy. My business is Better Me, Better You, solar energy sales and project management. I sell solar panels. Can you believe that? Me selling solar panels, and I love it. My specialty is building trust, and I do that through market-based education that empowers homeowners and businesses to confidently switch to solar. Because what I believe and what I know is that solar works if you know how to work it. And I do have experience with solar because I am a product of the product. I've got solar panels on my home. I have had them on my home for 3 years, and we just love them. It has been a true bill swap for us, which means that the money that we would have been paying normally on our electric bill, we have taken that money and now we pay it on the solar panel bill. Because when you go solar, unless you have a whole bunch of money that you just want to part with, most people will finance the solar panels. And so you have a monthly bill. And our bill is pretty much in line with what we were paying every month for our normal electricity. So it's a bill swap. Now, I realize that I am talking to a practically new audience because I am here at a different time of day. So I'm going to recap so that those of you who are listening will have a better understanding of solar energy, or you will enhance your knowledge. If you know anything about solar at all, hopefully you're going to hear something that will just build upon the knowledge that you have. As I said, my specialty is building relationships, and this market based education. I'm all about education. I'm all about making sure that you understand what solar energy is, how solar energy works. Is solar good for my house? Is it right for my house? Or is this something that just absolutely won't work for me? There are cases where some homes are just not a prime candidate for solar. That could be a home that you've got a lot of trees around your house, which means that your roof has a lot of shade, and solar needs the sun needs a direct path to your panels, which means that no trees covering your roof and no shading if possible. If there is shading, then we need to make sure that it is not occurring in the area where the solar panels are placed. So let's take a moment and just kind of start from the beginning. I am a product of the product. I've got solar panels on my home. My system is custom designed for the amount of energy that we use in my home. I, again, have had solar for 3 years, and in 3 years, I've only paid 4 bills. Now, in your home, your electricity bill may be high. I know a lot of people are dealing with high electricity bills because, of course, it's summertime and it is hot outside. The Texas heat is on and there is just no escaping it. So, what do we do in the summer? Just like in the winter when it's cold, cold, cold. In the summertime, we want to be comfortable. To be comfortable means that we're cranking down, that thermostat so that we can be cool. So if you're keeping your thermostat around 74, 73, 72. I know some people that keep theirs around 69 and 68, and that is just a personal preference. However, if your air is running or if your temperature setting is that low, then that means that your system is going to run, a pretty good while before it cuts off, and that means that you are using a lot of energy. Now, one reason you could be running your system at 68, 69, 72, 74 is because your system could need servicing. I don't know. I would hope that most of us are doing service checks in our home. Some things we'll do this year to winterize or to weatherproof our homes, and we might not have to do that same thing for 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. But then there are some things that we haven't done at all that we need to do. So you'll kind of rotate your projects. But I said that to say, if you're running your system at 68, 69, 70, and that system is working hard, it's on a long time, you're using a lot of energy. It could be that you may need a new system. Now, keep in mind, I'm not telling you to go buy a new system. I'm not telling you that that's really what you need. I'm really talking from experience. I moved into my home 13 years ago. It was a new build. Nobody had ever lived in the home, and the appliances and the air conditioning unit, none of those things had ever been used. After being in the home for 2 years, I noticed the air conditioner started to, be warm, and I'm like, what's going on? So we had to have it serviced. They put Freon in it, and we're back in business. But what I did notice is that every 2 years, I had to put Freon in that air conditioner. And that went on from 2010 until this year. Finally, this year, when they came to service it and put Freon in it, I'm like, all it needs is some Freon. They did that, but it would not hold the Freon, which meant that now I have to get a totally, completely new air conditioning system. We did that. And let me tell you, we were the people who kept our thermostat at 74 and 73. But now there is absolutely no way, because my system is running more efficiently. We keep our temperature at 76, 77, and 78, and it is cold. Sometimes we have to make that adjustment maybe to around 75, but most of the time it is set at between 76 and 77. And that means that now we're not using as much energy, from that air conditioning system like we were before, which kind of saves a little bit of kilowatts throughout the month. So your electric bill, if it's high, I mean really high, 200, that's moderate. But if you're getting bills for $400, $500, $600, you might want to start paying close attention to your bill and to really understand how much energy you're using every month. And are there things that you can do to adjust it? Usually, nobody goes to the bill and just like analyzes it and wonders, where is my energy going? If you're in a home that is slightly older and, you may be losing energy through your windows or your door seals and things like that, you need to understand that, because if you're losing energy because you've got drafty windows, or if your house has shifted a little bit and now your doors are not closing properly so that they seal the home, you're losing energy. You need to figure that out, because ain't nobody got money to give away like that. I know I don't. And I would just rather understand how to correct the things that I can, because there are a lot of things that we can correct without going solar. Solar is just the icing on the cake. So maybe you're not quite ready to go solar, and that's fine. But it would be wise, trying to make sure I use the right words, because this is about education. So it would be wise for you to start paying attention to how you run your household as it relates to energy, which is electricity. Okay? Going solar is one way that you can do that. Now, a lot of people believe that when they go solar, that they are off the grid. They are no longer pulling energy from the grid, and they really should have a zero bill. That's not true, because when you put the solar panels on your roof, on your home, the sun beams down. The sun is so beautiful. I love it. It's hot, but I love it. It beams down on your panels and it creates a direct current. Okay. And then the way the panels are constructed, the materials that they are constructed out of, and the inverters that transfer or change the energy from a direct current to an alternating current, which is what we use in our homes. You'll hear DC, AC. So it comes in as a direct current, and then it gets changed into an alternating current, and now we can use it in our homes. When that happens, and you're set up to go solar during the daytime. This is real important. So listen, during the daytime, the daylight hours, when the sun is bright out there, you are literally a power plant. You're just like any other plant that produces energy. You are producing the energy that you use during daylight hours. That's what the solar does for you. It allows you access to power, energy, electricity that you are actually producing. But what happens when the sun goes down? When the sun goes down, your system is not producing any energy at all. It is dormant at night. So what does that mean at night? It means that you become just like everybody else. In the daytime, you're special. When people drive by your house and they see the panels on your home, okay, your home is different. It stands out because it has panels on it. But at night, it's like the Transformers. You become just like everybody else. And now you too are pulling energy from the grid. So the energy that you pull from the grid is the energy that you will be charged for at the end of the month. The way that solar works is hopefully, you have a system on your house that was sized properly, and it produces enough energy to cover what you're pulling from the grid. And if you have any leftover energy, they call that overproduction. So if you are sending energy back to the grid more than you have used, then um, they're buying it back and you get credit. So hopefully, like I said, your system is producing enough energy to cover your bill. Now, it may only cover your usage, your electricity usage. If you're using, let's say, 1,000 kilowatts a month and you're producing 1,000 kilowatts per month, then that's going to pretty much depends on your solar buyback program. That's another story, and that can really get tricky because if you are paying 10 cent per kilowatt for the energy that you're using and they're buying it back at 9 cent, well, 9 is less than 10. So if you produce 1,000 and you use 1,000, your buyback is going to be less than what you're paying because you're paying 10 cent, but they're buying it back at 9 cent. So you want to make sure that when you're talking to the electricity companies about solar and the buyback programs and that kind of thing, that you're getting dollar for dollar, which is kind of becoming a little harder to get because the companies are now starting to do something a little bit different. So you may have to search around to find a company that will pay you the same thing that you're paying for it. So if that happens, then it's possible that you will balance out your usage and your production. They'll balance. But we've talked about this before. I know not with you because we're on at a different hour. We've talked about before your electricity bill is two parts. One part is the usage. It deals strictly with the kilowatts per hour. How much energy are you using per month? And then the second half of that bill deals with, well, the electricity company will have a base charge that they're charging. Then there will be a delivery charge for the energy. And then sometimes you will have the same company that is delivering energy to you, they will have a slightly lesser charge that they're charging you to do that. So it kind of feels like double dipping. I've got to study that more to really be sure, but that's on there. And then your taxes are there. So if you are producing enough energy to cover your bill and the other charges, you are really good. But if you are not, then when you go solar, it's possible that you will still have an energy bill, but it's not an energy bill. Let me correct that. You will have a bill from the electricity company for those other items, the base charge, the delivery charge, and the taxes and those things. So just because you have solar on your home doesn't mean that you are not pulling any energy from the grid. So let's just get that straight. It is possible, though, if you have a battery backup. That's what they call it, a battery backup. You're buying a battery to go along with your solar panel system. So now, instead of sending your energy back to the grid, it's being stored in the battery. And when that happens, now at night, you don't have to pull energy from the grid. You can pull it from your battery. And this puts you in a position where now you're really not utilizing the grid at all because you do have that battery backup. But keep in mind, you will still get a bill to cover those other items. What did we say they are? You've got a base charge, you've got a delivery charge, you may have another charge related to the energy that you have used, and then you'll have taxes. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. For those of you who are listening, I'm going to ask you to please, please, please share this information. Share this live if you can. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're on Be Humble, Be Grateful Network. You can hear us audio only on Spotify and iHeartRadio. So these are the different ways that you can listen, but do share. I run across a lot of different pages through different platforms, and people are talking about solar. I've seen comments like, hey, can anybody tell me anything about solar? Lots of people in my neighborhood are going solar. Is it really real? Does it really work? Now, I respond to those questions and comments when I see them, but very few people are reaching back. I don't know why, because I give good answers. I know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know what I'm talking about, then together we're going to figure it out, because that's my role. That's why I am here, is to make sure that you all are educated enough to make a choice and be confident in making that choice to switch to solar. Because what I know is that when you switch to solar, it will work if you know how to work it. And that's my job, is to help you understand how it works and how to work it. So I am very curious about people who want to understand how solar works. Now, keep this in mind. It's just a matter of time before solar actually comes to a rooftop near you, and it may be your roof that it lands on, because the system, well, do I mean system? The way that things are structured in our world now, here in the United States, is there is a big push to get away from fossil fuel, to get away from what they call dirty energy and move to clean, renewable energy. And one of the sources of clean, renewable energy is the sun. And, what do we mean when we say renewable? I was baffled by, okay, what are they talking about? Why are they calling it renewable? And I never really asked anybody what the word meant. And at that point, I had not explored further to discover exactly what it all meant. But anytime something is referred to as renewable, it simply means that that thing comes and goes. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Like the sun. The sun rises every day, whether we see it or not. On cloudy days, we don't see the sun. We don't feel the effects of the heat from the sun. It's not bright, but it is there because creation is set up that way. That is the way creation works with reference to the sun. It rises every day in kind of the same place. It moves a little bit depending on the time of year that it is, but that sun, that source of energy, is renewable because it never runs out. And I pray to God it never runs out. But with all of this climate control situation that we're in now, and we're experiencing really, really, really the hottest times really on earth. I was listening to the news and they were saying that this July that we are in now is actually the hottest recorded time in the history of the earth that they have been recording. So that's a big deal, which means that everything is being having to make adjustments. Our water, I also heard today that the oceans are being affected because it's so hot. The water in the ocean was like more than 100 degrees. They were saying it was like the temperature of a hot tub. I've been in the ocean a couple of times, and every time I got in, I was freezing. And it's not to say that if you were to get in today, that you would feel how hot it is. The water is probably still cool. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just guessing. But the temperature is still hotter than it has ever been. And can you imagine what's going on beneath the waters? The same as is going on above the waters, the same above as below, you know? So these are things that we have to think about and really start to measure and understand. This is why I'm telling you that it's already put into motion that we are moving to renewable energy. We are moving to solar, wind, and water energy. And most of our homes are going to be run by solar. Now, you don't have solar yet, but it's coming to your neighborhood and to your home. I like to think about it in this way. Remember when, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but when debit cards were first introduced, and this was probably back in the 80s when they first started talking about it, and then in the 90s, it became a real thing and became common. I was one of those people, no, I'm keeping my money in my pocket. I don't want a card. I don't want any of that. But I have cards right now, probably as many as some of you have. We all have them. But, they put out, I'm just going to say a mandate that as an example. A mandate gets given, decisions are made, and then they put them into action. And it's a subtle action, meaning that it's not something that happens overnight. It happens over years. And finally, we get to the point where it's here. It is here. It is time. Someone told me years ago, I'm not asking you to believe anything that I say here. I'm just sharing information as I know it and as I believe it, and I am trusting that it is good enough to share. But someone once told me that 2% of the population uh, makes the rules. They do the thinking, okay? And then 13% of the population carries out the will of the 2%. So, for example, if 2% of the population who are in control of how things work, the mechanics of the earth, if you will, the mechanics of society, if you will, if those people have decided that, okay, we need to shift from fossil fuel, this dirty energy, it's time to start moving in the direction of renewable energy, then 13% of the population, listen carefully, 13% of the population goes to work to make sure that the will of the 2% gets carried out. They have a start date, they have measures in between, and then they have a target date that it's all going to be in place. So 13% carry out the will of the 2%, and then that leaves 85% of the population. We're the workhorses. The 85% is the workhorse. We do these things. We work on the jobs, we get our money, we funnel it the way that it has been directed, and we think nothing of it. We think, oh, okay, I'm able to do this, I'm able to buy that, I feel good, I'm living good. All that's true, and I applaud every one of you. But you are doing basically what has been decided. Unless you are involved in your life, in your own life, involved in the decisions, then, maybe it's something you want to evaluate. And solar, though, is a good thing because it is one of the ways that we will save the earth and that we will save some of our lives. You may see the tagline underneath the show title, which should say and does say, when your passion finds you. What is that like? We're still talking about solar. Solar found me. I was not looking for solar. I never imagined owning a business where I sell solar energy, but it found me. And when it found me, I realized that homeowners need an advocate to be able to share correct and proper information so that homeowners are able to make wise, conscious decisions about, adding solar to their homes. And that's who I am, and that's why I'm here. And my life is just so exciting. Every day I get to talk about solar energy, and my business is growing from the perspective of every time I get to sit here in this chair. I'm happy. I'm grateful to sit here in this chair and share my heart with you and share my information with you about solar energy. If there is anyone who is listening, you can call at 214-497-7440. You will be a live caller if you have any questions about solar energy, or you can comment and we will answer those questions. Asking you to please share and like. YouTube, share and like. If you're listening on Facebook, that's one way we're live there. We're live also on YouTube, and you can just put my name in the search bar and it should come up for you as a live. I'm getting good. I'm learning this stuff. I'm learning how to be out here. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? So we've talked about the real problem. The problem is electricity bills are high. And what's the solution? We want to solve that problem. The solution, or one solution, or the solution that I am bringing to you, is to add solar panels to your home. And once you have permission to operate and you're connected with an electricity company where you are enrolled in a solar buyback program, then you should start to see the production from the solar match your usage and lower your bill. It should either reduce or eliminate the electricity usage portion of your bill, making any bill that you get from the electricity company very minimum. And minimum could be $4, it could be $15, it could be $50, but it should not be, the hundreds. Now, or it could be when you have homeowners who are not educated to understand what's being presented as it relates to solar, it's possible that you could get stuck with a system that is not large enough to produce the energy that you need, to have available to you now. You have some people, they don't have enough roof space. So if you don't have enough space on your roof for a couple of reasons. You just don't have the space. Some of the area, some of the roof area could be shaded. Then you have to make a decision. Do I want to cut this tree down? Is it more than one tree that you would have to cut down? Or is my roof, the design of my roof, is it compatible with solar? Because you have some roofs that the pitch is angled in such a way that solar is not going to work. And as a person who sells solar energy, I need to have the integrity. I need to be that kind of person to say solar is just not right for your home. You know, the business is good. It is very lucrative. And so when you're out here, you're selling this. This is your product. And you know that every time you make a sale, you're going to make some good money. But is the money worth it if I have to cheat you? For me, the answer is no. Keep in mind that everybody out here is not here for your best interest. Solar in Texas is like the wild, wild west. And what that means is that, it doesn't take a lot to start up a solar business. Anybody can do it. You can do it. So you've got all kinds of people out here who are starting businesses as solar dealers and solar reps. So when that happens, you've got to make sure that who you're talking to is reputable. I'm going to answer this call. Hello? Yes. Y'all, Daddy, I'm live on Facebook, and you just called me to check your phone. Okay, well, it's working. Okay, it's working. Bye-bye. Well, thank you all for allowing me that. See, I'm also a caregiver. My father lives in the home with us. He's 85 years old, and he has a flip phone because that's all he needs. And so he was just checking it to see if it's working. So thank you for that. But now back to the people that are knocking on your doors, sitting across from the kitchen table with you, talking to you about solar, hopefully really helping you to understand the benefits of solar and how it can work for you and your family. I know unless you have a second person that you can trust to review a contract with you or to compare contracts to a degree, then, like the old people used to say, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. So I'm trying to keep it to the point where it's 100% and 100%. And that's how I enjoy doing business. I live here in DeSoto, Texas, and I service the Metroplex and Texas. I can go anywhere in the state of Texas and sell solar. I'm sitting here because I own my own solar company business. It is better me, better you. That's what we are. I'm better, you're better, we're better. The idea is to create a full 360-degree circle and stay connected. That's another thing. When you buy from me, when I am the one who installs your solar system, I stay connected with you throughout the process. I'm going to make sure that everything that you need to have done is done, and that you understand your connections and your contacts. That's real important. I am working with a person right now who had solar put on her home in 2017, and for whatever reason, it has not worked in at least 3 years. And her deal is that she just really didn't know who to reach out to help her, because the company that installed it, the company that she bought it from, they're out of business. And 7, 8, 9 years ago, that was very, very, very prominent. You would have pop-up companies that would release almost like herds of people in communities knocking on doors selling solar. So they would exhaust their leads in a particular community, and then they just move on to the next one. And then what? They're out of business. Now, why they went out of business, I have no idea. But usually, whoever installs your solar, that person is the one who provides you with your warranty for installation warranty is what it's called. And when the panels are placed on your roof, they are nailed. They're nailed to your roof. And if for some reason, down the road, you get leaks and things like that, those warranties are usually about 10 years on penetration. But companies have gotten better. The company that I work with, you've got a 25-year warranty on everything. But if your company that you bought it from, if they're out of business, then you're just kind of out of luck. Unless you meet someone or you can contact someone who will step in and inspect your system or be able to do whatever you need done. Also, it's important to note that when you put a solar system, a solar panel system on your roof, that attachment becomes a part of your dwelling. And as it is now a part of your dwelling, you have the responsibility to contact your insurance company so that, the cost of that system or whatever calculations they're using to evaluate that system can be added to your homeowner's policy. Because let's just say, for instance, down the road, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you may need to have a roof replaced. If you have to have your roof replaced, then when your contractor is meeting with your insurance adjuster, they have to be sure that they consider detaching and reattaching that solar panel system. That becomes a part of the claim. We've got to take it off, replace the roof, and put it back on. So here's what I want you to understand as you are listening to me here talk all about solar. Understanding solar should not be hard. It really shouldn't be hard. But there are a lot of moving pieces. It's almost like a puzzle. You kind of understand one thing connects to the other thing, and how to connect the dots and fill in the blanks. That's where the education piece comes in. So that if someone installs solar on your home and now you can't get in touch with them, you have to be like an investigator to figure out how to correct your situation, whatever it is. Either somebody like me that you can call and say, hey, Rob, I need some help. And then I show up and we work it out together, no matter how long it takes, because, sometimes it could be delicate and very intricate. The problem can be delicate. It could be very intricate, and it could take a while. But if you've got somebody who understands the business and they know what should be happening, then you're more likely to be able to solve the problem successfully. So that's real, real, real important. Another piece that you want to understand is, okay, so now you're listening to me talk all about solar. You're hopefully learning something enough to say that maybe I'll give her a call and we'll talk about it a little bit further. And you pick up your phone and you dial 214-497-7440. I will answer and we'll talk about whatever it is that you want. And let's just say that you're ready. You're ready to pull the trigger and go solar. So you really only need a 650 credit score. That's like the minimum 650 credit score to be approved for solar. Once we've gotten you approved, we know that that's right, then you're going to give me a copy of your electricity bill. I'm going to take that bill and evaluate it. I'm going to either with you on the phone or with your permission, contact your electricity company provider and request your 12-month usage history. We need to know how much energy you have used in the last 12 months. That's a part of the formulation that we use to create a proposal for you. Another thing that we're going to look at is your bills. We need 12-month payment history. How much did you pay over the past year? Then with those numbers, we will add up your payments for all 12 months. And then we'll add it up, divided by 12. That will give us your average usage. No, your average payment. So my average payment was like $320 a month. It doesn't mean that every month I paid $320, but it means that when I added up 12 months of payments, divided it by 12, I came out with the 320. So some months I might pay 250, I might pay 175 or whatever, but my average bill was 328. So when we decided to go solar, the system size that I needed to be able to produce the energy that I was producing without solar, I had to make sure that system was designed to meet that. And for me, what we did was we kind of offset our production a little bit more. I'm offset at like 105%. So I produce a little bit more than I need, which helps out because when you have summers like we have now, and for whatever reason, you may use a little more energy, but you're producing a little bit more and it averages out. Also, I want you to understand that when you go solar, it's a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle change when you really understand it, because you know that the energy that you're using during the daytime hours, you are actually producing that. That system that sits on top of your house is producing what you use in the daytime. But now at night, if you start living life after 6 p.m., like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, meaning that, you've got people taking showers, you've got people in the kitchen cooking like it's Christmas or Thanksgiving. You may have 4 or 5 kids in the house and everybody has a PlayStation and all this kind of stuff. When you do all of that at night, just know that you are pulling your energy from the grid at night. And that is what you are going to be required to pay for. So Again, you have made a decision to go solar. You have a 650 credit score or better. We have your electric bill. We've done all the calculations, and we are ready to uh, qualify you, meaning push the button so that the finance company does their check. Then they send over documents for you to sign, and we're ready to talk about next steps. Now, one thing, you do have a couple of options. Most people are actually owning their system. They are financing it, they own it. But then there are options to lease or to have what they call a PPA, which is a power purchase agreement. So, how do I really feel about leasing and power purchase agreements? If you can avoid it, and this is my personal opinion, my preference, I would never tell you not to do it. Well, I'll take that back. I would tell you not to do it, but I will help you understand why it may not be the best choice for you. Because when you're leasing or have a power purchase agreement, that leases and power purchase agreements came into play because 10, 15 years ago, when solar became popular and people wanted solar, there were just very few, not a lot of, there were very few finance companies in place who would finance these systems. So that kind of left people in a position where they either had to pay out of their pocket, the cash amount for the system, or the companies that were selling it came up with the solution of leasing. You could lease it, or you could, have a power purchase agreement. And the difference between those two, one of them has an escalator, which means that every year that lease is going to increase by 2.99% or some percentage. So you just need to make sure that if you are leasing, if you do have a power purchase agreement, that you understand really fully how it works. Now, you're leasing it or you have a power purchase agreement. That means that when the system is placed on your roof, you don't own it. You cannot make modifications to it. You can't add to it. You really can't do anything because the company that sold it to you or that you're leasing it from, they own it. Okay? So you actually are buying your power in a way from them. So here's another thing with reference to what might cause someone to choose to lease or sign a power purchase agreement. Now, right now, as I sell solar, there are not really a lot of incentives out there. Right now, if you qualify, it is zero out of pocket. You don't have to spend any money out of your pocket once you are approved by the finance company. We're not asking you for any more money. It's a done deal. We are going to schedule a date and show up and put it on your roof. Okay? When this happens and you own it, it's yours. But when you lease it, that company still owns it. I think I was going somewhere else with that and kind of got lost. But you just need to know that. Just make sure that whoever you are purchasing your solar panel system from, that you understand what you are buying, and that you're not getting yourself in a situation where that lease price is increasing, every year, because that's a lot of money. Whereas on paper, starting out, your system may cost $35,000, But if every year um, it's increasing, by 2.9% or whatever, the amount of money that you pay per month for that lease, it's increasing by that month. So I say 35,000, but you're not owning it. But even with the leasing, you're paying far more than you would be paying if you had purchased it outright. And keep in mind that when you own your system, if you go to sell your home, then it will add value to your home. It will not, solar will not increase your property taxes, but it will increase the value of your home. So when you're in a position where you're ready to sell, at some point an appraiser will come out. When that appraiser gets there and he sees solar on your home, one of the first questions he's going to ask, do you own the system or are you leasing? Because that makes a difference. If you own the system, then he's going to appraise the property, with that in mind. So it could be a 2 or 4% increase in value, but it does add value. Now, in my case, I have kept all of my bills, from the time I started with solar, and even before. I have receipts, my bills, maybe a couple of years even before. So if somebody came into my home to buy it and they were using the same amount of energy or less than I use, and the way we could figure that out is look at their bills from where they're coming from, add it up, and we could determine how much energy they're using. And I could show them my notebook that I keep all of my bills in, and they can see my bills come in at zero, 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 except for 4 times in 3 years, and those are there as well. So if someone purchased my house that has solar on it and it matches their energy needs, then they're going to come in and not have an electricity bill from the get-go. So you cannot tell me that that is not value. Okay? I know we have talked about a lot, and it may seem as though I am just going across the board and around the mulberry bush, but if you are listening closely, I'm sure that we have said something that has increased your knowledge, and I'm happy about that. I'm here for you. So make sure that you tell someone about this lady. Her name is Robin. She's on Facebook Live every Thursday at 6 p.m. and sometimes she may show up at a different hour. She's on Facebook. You can listen to her on iHeartRadio. Be humble, be grateful. Be humble, be humble, stay humble. Okay. Network. You can just go see her, because let me tell you, there are a lot of people. You can find a lot of people on YouTube talking about solar energy. You can find a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about solar. But I believe that I am here for a particular people, and that's good enough for me, because there are enough people in this world for all of us to do well. I mean, I don't need somebody else's customers, and I don't need to be interfering in your life if it's not what you want. But I think you might appreciate me because I am truthful. And because, we're going to be sure that you are getting exactly what you believe you're getting. And if you are not getting that, then, you can still call me. I'm not going out of business. Even if I'm not selling solar anymore, you'll still be able to find me. You got my number, 214-497-7440. Oh, okay. I've said a lot. What time is it? I'm right there. I always take a breath right around the hour mark. So I'm as good as it gets, y'all. better come on over here and get your solar system. One last thing, just know that, I know you hear me, and I know that eventually, you're going to call me. I know that the buzz is starting now, okay? Make sure that you understand that if you are interested at all in solar, that you don't need to be comparing what you need or want to what somebody else has, because it's not comparable. All systems are custom. They are built, designed for you. Now, that's enough for today. I thank you so much for listening. What's my name? Robin Bath-Me. What's the name of my business? Better Me, Better You, Solar Energy Sales and Project Management. Why am I here? To build trust and to share through market-based education all about solar for you. Okay? So until next Thursday, thank you for listening.